Hello, good morning and happy Tuesday. Uh, Starting a little bit early this morning, but that's also because I need to leave a little bit early today. Probably gonna have to head out around 8 o'clock this morning, so we're still gonna get an hour and 15 minutes in, but I have a super important meeting that I need to prepare for. So that's why we're gonna go a little bit early today. So what we are working on is more Hasura stuff. So I have previously started up our Hasura client here, or server here, and I'm connected to it. So currently this has no password on it from what I can tell. Basically there's just nothing here. That is something we can set. So like if I have a password, we can I think set up a password in here and then require that in through a headers here. And there is documentation for us of how to do that. And that is what we're going to try to set up today. So also in another tab, I have my Auth0 set up. So that's actually turn that way down. Okay, so we have Auth0 set up. There should be some like how to do that in here. I remember I've seen it a few different times. Here we go. Auth0 JOT integration with Hasura GraphQL engine. Okay, so we're just gonna go through this and see if we can get it working. All right, so create an Auth0 application. I have previously done this. We got that working. Authentication was working with u.rs, so we're like that should be good. Okay, so navigate to the Auth0 dashboard. Click on applications, I click on create application. Okay, so in the create applications window, so the name, we've got that. Select single page web application. That's also what we've done. You get the basic information such as the domain, client ID, and client secret from the application settings tab once the application is created. Okay, got all those things. Configure Auth0 rules and callback URLs. In the application settings, application URIs section. Okay, so this is where I need to start doing this down here. All right, so I'm logged in my playground application. So there's applications, settings, application URIs, set allowed callback URLs. Okay, to just jot.io. Interesting that it's just jot.io. Okay. Add it in there. Add domain-specific URLs as well for the production apps. Oh, okay. So we already have that for ourselves. Okay. Disable the OIDC conformant under application settings, advanced settings. Okay, so there is a where is advanced settings OAuth? Oh, OIDC conformant. Applications flagged as OIDC conformant will strictly follow the OIDC specification. Turning on this flag can introduce breaking changes to this application, which is on by default, so we are turning it off. Okay. To avoid a callback error. Okay. So Auth0 has multiple versions of its SDK that use different semantics to handle JOT. If you're using Auth0, add a rule to update the ID token. If you're using Auth0 single page app SDK, add a rule to update the access token. So, okay, I get it. So the SDK is going to be what we're using in our front end app. But because we're using U.RS, well, anything Rust, really, a WebAssembly, there is no SDK. So it doesn't really matter. We can choose either of these and we'll be fine. Your client will not authenticate your app if a wrong token gets updated, as the necessary Hasura claims won't appear in the generated JOT. Okay, so that's good to know. In both cases, navigate to auth pipeline rules. Okay, so this is the first place that we're gonna sort of like diverge a little bit. So auth pipeline rules does exist. However, it yells at me and says, hey, you shouldn't use auth pipeline rules because actions are the new way to go. So I'm going to go to library custom delete that rule I was playing with earlier. Oh, it's already bound to a trigger. Okay, hold on. I need to remove that. Nope, that's just editing it. There we go, okay. Bound to a trigger still? What triggers are it bound to? Okay, back to... Oh, after I did, I have to hit apply. That's why. Okay. So, just sort of setting this up before I show the screen. Nope. This is where it goes to delete. Last time. Okay, so here we are in Auth0. Under actions library here, we can create a custom action. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new action. Actually, it has to be a new custom action, doesn't it? So custom name. We're gonna do Hasura. I'll just name this Hasura. Our trigger is going to be a login or post login trigger. And our choices, node 12, not recommended, but an option, or node 16. Interesting that they're skipping node 14 there. I would have assumed that like node 14 and node 16 would be the option, but I also wonder if they have that because they have customers with node 12, but not node 14. Okay, so here's this like this action we can set up, and so the idea is that I can add things into the API here to set it. So if I want to, as they mentioned here, if I want to add something to ID token or access token, I can do that with API. So API.ID token dot set custom claim, and then it'll have like a key and a value. And then also something that I've discovered is that this needs to be a fully qualified URL. If that isn't there, there is a very good chance that it just won't show up and it won't be there. So they're checking it for validity before they send it along. But they're also not checking it here. Like, it's only checking when it's runtime, which makes it really hard to debug in the case that you don't do this correctly. So that's going to be fun. Okay, so I'm going to be writing that. I'm actually thinking I might also write and store that in like VS Code somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where I want to put that. But okay, so configure Auth0 rules and callback rules. Okay, so we're gonna create the action. Okay, so for Auth0, okay, so a single page application, we're gonna go with this one. So you'll notice that we have API and event, they have user context and callback. And that's just because the rules have a different sort of system for it. Also, with actions, I get actually like a good editor that tells me what I'm looking at. So I kind of like that a little bit more. Okay, so this is the namespace. So Hasura.0 jot claims. Okay, so that does make sense. I kind of like that. So I'm gonna move this over there. Here. All right, so we're going to start with namespace equal to s Hasura.io. So jot claims. I think in the end, it doesn't really matter what this is because only our app is going to see it. And so it just has to be some kind of namespace. So if I'm doing this for myself, I would probably put like brooksbuilds.com or something like that. Okay, and now they're looking into context access token namespace. So they're setting this to be, okay, so it's going to be this object is what they're setting. Okay, so I want, this is going to be API dot access token of namespace equals, okay, and then u x Hasura default role is user. So okay, we could set a default role for this. That could be interesting. And I think by default, is that right? I don't know. I might do something like not logged in or something else, but I can easily tweak this later and come back and like change it. So it's good to know we can set a default role for this. Do some custom logic to decide allowed roles. The other thing that would be interesting is that there's a role system in Auth0. So I can set up a bunch of roles, and I guess like the default role, we'll still have to set this here, but we'll have to do some custom logic to decide allowed roles. Oh, then this goes here now. So x Hasura allowed roles. So it's an array. So like user, admin, I guess like if you are paying account, you get like a paid system on it. So we'll have to do something in here to sort of like determine what your role is. and then x Hasura user ID. And then this is gonna be, okay, so we don't have access to user here, so but I do have access to event.user.user ID. And I think that's all we do. I don't have to call the callback because I'm just calling this API access token. Oh, nope, I did this wrong. Okay, so API to access token dot set custom claim. And then namespace is the key. And then this is what we're setting it to. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and deploy this. Now in flows, we're gonna go to login flow. All changes are live, that's great. I'm gonna drag login flow into here and apply that. So now every time I try to log in, I should get that. Now, move this back down here. I wanna see whether or not we can see that in our user login. That would be in u.rs. We have that all set up. So let's head on over there. Oh, address already in use. Okay, so I need to tell trunk. Okay, so we can go into trunk toml. There's our trunk toml. I bet there's something in here for us to tell it what IP address to use, because 8080 I believe is its default and Hasura is running on that. So I need to tell this to go into something like 8081. But I don't see exactly what to put in here right now. What if I do trunk config help? No, probably not config. How about let's just go to Trunk's website. Okay, so trunk.toml. Okay, so we want a port. So under serve, there's a port option. Okay, so we have hooks. So it's going to be don't know if it matters that it's above or below the other one. I'm gonna put it above, just like this one. Serve, and we're just gonna have port. Oh, no quotes, 8081. And there we go. Okay, so now we have U running on port 8081. Okay, so I want to go into authentication section. I want to look at our network. We're going to do our login, and I want to see. I remember what I used here. Password. What was that? I got that. Oh, resource does not exist. Well, that's not good. We got a login callback 404. Oh, because it went back to 8080. Oh, that's a problem. Okay. It went back to 8080. So we got a 404. Okay. We need to update. Is my ENV, would that have my callback URI? Let me check in here. I have, oh, base URI. I think we called that one. So I'm going to change this to 8081. Everywhere where I have 8080, I should change Hasura to be on a different one, really. Okay. I think that'll do it. So I need to run start again. Yeah, let's try this again. Yes, I know. Something went wrong. Let's log in. It still try to go back to 8080. Let's double check where this is grabbing stuff. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. So in authentication, we have Auth0. Create the login. Oh, redirect URI. Well, okay, never mind. I've hard coded it. So we'll want this to be 8081 here. In the real one, we don't want to hard code that just for this reason, because maybe we're going to change it. Okay, and also like dev versus like deployment is a thing. So I need to refresh here, I think. Oh, callback URL mismatch. Okay, so now it's yelling because in Auth0 I have a callback that doesn't match the URL here. So let me go find that and just add an 8081 in there. It's exactly like OAuth from other systems. So, okay, allowed callback URLs. I want, and we can actually see when you come in here, it's trying to do callback URL to login callback like that. I'm just going to add you in. Okay, and hit save. Let's try this. Oh, error. array items are not unique. Okay, so I must have duplicate there somewhere. Oh yeah, if I copy and paste the previous one, I should change the port number on it. Okay, so got those, save. Okay, so log in. All right, great, we are logged in. I should now be able to get my user info here. And I'm looking, but I'm not seeing that information come out. I was sort of hoping to see the data like appear that we put into here. Let me double check to make sure it's in there. So in flows, login. Yeah, so Hasura is in there. And if I go to library, custom, so we get our namespace, which is https hasura.io.claims. API access token, set custom claim. Namespace, and then we set that. Now, what if I just set this to like a string? So like testing. Redeploy that. Ooh, I don't get that. Okay, so what do I need to do to add that in? Oh, we could try instead of, okay, so we have set, we could try ID token. Let's try something else. Access token dot so if I do, okay, key string, set a custom claim on access token. Help isn't really helpful here. So localhost 8080. Actually, what if I just do like localhost / testing, then value is unknown. I'll just do testing string. We set that. There's a test run. I'm gonna run that here. I'm not showing it because I don't know if it's going to like share like private details out. Okay, so commands, name, target, access token, type, set custom claim, value testing, no errors. Okay, so if I deployed that. I could swear that I got this once before to work, where I had like a custom claim on it. Let's try not the access token. Let's try the other one. So that's gonna be the ID token. And I think it's still set custom claim. Okay. Oh, now I see it. Okay, so this is what it needed to be the entire time. All right, so back to this. I'm going to copy you and paste you in here. So instead of the string testing again, we put in that, and then your namespace. I set that to the namespace. Okay, so that's all fine. Okay, to grab the user, that's event.user.userid. Redeploy, do my run test. No errors. Okay. Back here. Hit login, and here it is. Our Hasura custom claims showing up in that. Okay. With default role of users and allowed roles is user. Okay. Awesome. So we have that part working. Create an Auth0 API for okay, so apparently, okay, that was, I had to do the other one, right? We had to do the ID token, which is just auth0.js. Interesting. That's if I'm not using a SPA type. Its type is set to single page application. So I wonder if things are like slightly different in the actions also. All right. Good to know. Create an Auth0 API. For Auth0 SPA.js, also create an API so that the access token issued by Auth0 follows the JOT standard. More about this here. Navigate to the Auth0 dashboard, click on the APIs menu. Option on the left sidebar, and click on the plus create API. Okay, so create new API. In the new API window, set a name for your API. So this is going to be Hasura. And enter an identifier. Oh, like Hasura. In your application code, configure your API identifier as the audience. When initializing Auth0. What? In your application code. Okay, so in the code I'm writing, configure your API identifier as the audience when initializing Auth0. So we have this Auth0 provider, audience equals Hasura. Oh, so I probably need to like send this as a request. So hold on, let's go to Auth0. Nope, don't need to log in. Just need the docs. Okay, so we're doing database login. Get it authorized. Okay, so response type, client type, connection, redirect URI, scope, and state. I am not seeing a audience option here. Interesting. Okay, so there's connection. Connection's the name of the database that we set up in Hasura. Redirect URI. scope. User profile, could I say, nope, I can only pass in the access token. I can't even, nope, I don't say that. There's nothing here for that. Okay, is there like a search? So, audience? Audience, the unique identifier of the audience for an issued token identified within a JSON Web Token as the odd claim. The audience value is either the application client ID for an ID token or the API that is being called, API identifier for an access token. At Auth0, the audience value sent in a request for an access token dictates whether that token is returned in an opaque or JOT format. Okay. So is it a scope that I'm requesting? It's part of a claim, but it's not saying specifically a scope, but maybe? I'll come back to this in case this fails. So you don't need to integrate your UI with Auth0 for testing. There are two ways you can test connections. If you are logged into the Auth0 dashboard, select authentication. Okay, so I am done here. Okay, I need to create this. Okay, select authentication. Select the type of connection you want to test. I guess just database. And select try connection. So go into there. Try connection. It's going to have me log in. Okay, so it works, and I see my claim. If you're not logged in, okay, so I am logged into the Auth dashboard. Configure Hasura to use Auth0 keys. Okay, so Auth0 publishes their JOT under HTTPS, your Auth0 domain, auth0.com/.wellknown, JOX.json, but they have a bug where the certificate thumbprint does not match. Hence, this URL does not work with Hasura. The current workaround is to download the X590 certificate from that and use it in a key field. Is this the actual... an easy way to generate the above config is to use the following UI. Okay, so let me see if I copy this. Okay, so Hasura, oh, you have a JOT config. So I say auth0, enter your domain name. I can do that. Applications. Okay, so there's my domain name. Generate the config. Ooh, and it generates it for me. Okay, awesome. Note, if you're using Docker Compose YAML, please wrap the above in a single quote. It's good. Also good to know. Okay, so we have all that. Add access control rules via the Hasura console. Auth0 has figured, wait, where do I put this? You can use the generated config in the Hasura GraphQL jot secret environment variable or the jot secret flag. You can directly copy and paste the config in YAML files and command line arguments. Wait, so can I, is there a jot thing in here that I can just put in? So metadata about integrals. Oh, do I have to do this via the command line? Okay, so there's the roles that we'll create. Okay, so wait, where exactly do I need to put this? You can use the generated config in the Hasura GraphQL jot secret environment variable. Okay, so I have to put this into the command line somewhere inside of here and then have it restart. Okay. So this needs, like this specific one that I created needs to go into my Docker compose file, which we have. All right, I'm gonna be deleting this app afterwards, so I don't think this is gonna be that big of a deal to expose. So let's, okay, so, oh, I don't even have that one. So I need to go to database stuff. We're gonna stop Hasura. Now it did say if I'm going to be putting this into let's see, Hasura, I need to add in a quote for it. So we're gonna vim, no, not vim, no, code over here. It's the URS playground. Oh, you opened up down here. That's why. I was like, where's my VS Code for this? Okay, so here's our Docker Compose YAML. For GraphQL engine, we need to add in okay, so I think what we can do is we'll add in a secret, which is this. We tell it where the Postgres database is. Okay, that seems to be fine. Metadata database table. Okay, so this is all fine. Then we're gonna add a new one. Jot secret. I guess this just goes into the jot secret. Is it the key or is it this entire object? Use it in the key field. You can use generated config and Hasura GraphQL or that flag. You can directly copy and paste the config and YAML files. Okay. So I guess I'm taking this entire thing. If you're using Docker Compose YAML, please wrap this in a string. Oh, where do I use this? Okay, so I need to set the audience claim too, which I don't know how to do yet. We'll have to figure that out as well. But okay, this is Hasura grant jot secret. Okay, it's literally just this as the entire string. Now it's not saying that this is a major problem. Okay, so string. There we go. So save. And we'll restart. Okay, so you did not like this. Line 20, column 7, expected block end, the found scalar. Oh, right. So I have, okay, so single quotes maybe? Did not like that still. All right, hold on. They have more examples. Okay, they have single quotes. Just set it equal to that entire thing. That seems to work for them. If I... Oh, I had a double single quote. Okay, that's why. Okay, Hasura should now be up again. Let's... Missing authorization. Okay, so now it's yelling at me because... Oh, I added a secret in here. So that's this one right here. All right, so now I have this X Hasura admin secret, and there's now this logout option. So far, nothing else interesting, really. All right, back to documentation. Auth0 is configured and ready to be used in the application. You can now set up access control rules that are automatically applied whenever a client makes a GraphQL request with the Auth0 token. Refer to access control basics for more information. An access control rule that uses X Hasura user ID for the role user. Then make a GraphQL. Okay, so we're going to use rjot as an authorization header. Okay, so add an access control rule. So I think we can do that. Wait, where do I do that? Okay, so we've already done it. Define access control rules. Via the console, head to the permissions tab and data table permissions. Okay, so we're gonna go to data. Here's our table. Permissions. Okay, so we have role, admin can do everything. And then I believe we just created a new role, user. And we can say, oh, user, you can select only maybe. Ooh, and can do like a custom check to make sure, ooh, your like user ID or role is a certain thing. Okay, that's nice. So you can maybe select everything for these games. So that's all we're gonna care about. Select permissions. You can see the name and the ID. Save permission. What? Oh, user. Okay, here it is. Update, delete. Okay, so that's all you can do. You can just select them. You can just see the games. Okay. Then I'm gonna come back to API. So this would be authorization. And then we need a bearer token, which we can get by logging in here, I believe. So I have my token. Okay, so smart side token, redirect UI scope. Where is that? Okay, bearer. Come on. Let me select it all. Okay, there we go. Bearer is this. These tokens are like new every time, and they time out after not too long. So here's this bearer token. Now, if I turn off this one, introspection failed, so it can't explore these. But if I try to list games out, oh, could not verify JOT, compact decode error, invalid number of parts expected. 3 parts got 5. Okay. So that didn't work. An access control that uses X Hasura user ID for the role user. Okay, so wait, did I miss that somewhere? Add you back in. So access. Okay, so I'm in games, permissions. Do I need to add in that like access? how do I add an access control rule that uses X Hasura user ID for the role user? You don't show that here. An access control that uses X Hasura user ID. Use the JOT as an okay, so we're using a JOT as an authorization header, unless of course I got the wrong one there, but and make a graphical. Okay, so then we do that. Okay, they generated in a previous step. They generated the token. That's the config. I don't think they actually... Did they generate a token in a previous one? I don't think they did. Yeah, so type token, that's what we're doing. They're not doing anything crazy here. But that, okay, that will give them a token. Oh, you know what? I think to read the new updates, this has to be like go completely down and come back up. So I can't just do like a close. I have to do like a down and then an up to get it to reread the Docker compose file. So maybe also that is necessary. Okay, so you're back up and running. So I still have this set up here. If I turn off you, introspection doesn't work. Cannot verify JOT. Invalid number of parts. So this is Auth0 that's yelling about this. Sounds like you may be getting an opaque access token instead of a JOT access token. To get a JOT access token, you must have an API registered in API section, and you must use the identifier for it as the audience parameter in your Auth0 web auth config. Okay, web auth config. Where is...
Only you had a motive for murder.
Web auth config. Okay, so is that... Where is that? Is that in here? So looking through just like the config and Auth0. Maybe advanced settings. Okay, so there's like application metadata. That's probably not correct. Device settings is not there. Okay, allowed apps APIs, allowed application APIs are applications that will be allowed to make delegation requests. By default, all your applications will be allowed. Okay, I don't think that's correct. But I could go in and set the name of this other API that we have. So we created an API that we named Hasura. So identifier is Hasura. So if I put that in there, I hit save. Okay, let's try logging in again. Looks about the same size, so I'm not confident this is gonna work. Okay, and then if I try to run you, yeah, so still same problem. Grant types. I don't see anything inside of here. It's not federation. It's not certificate stuff. Not in there. Okay, so that's not helpful there. Okay, back to. So you do this where you say audience, okay, is node API. Is this, okay, so do we need to send audience also in here where I just basically do like audience equals. So this would be and audience equals and then our audience is Hasura. Okay, so if I do that, that should have restarted for me. Ooh, okay, so requesting access. Okay, so it's changed a little bit. Accept. Still feels about the same length. Okay, now a different problem. Claims key not found. Okay, so now we get jot invalid claims. So claims key, Hasura.io jot claims not found. Is that what we were expecting to have inside of here? Yes, HB Hasura.io jot claims. Jot claims. Okay, so it's searching for this inside of our login, and it's not finding it. Am I seeing that in my profile? Yeah, okay, HBS Hasura.io jot claims is this object. Okay, so HTTPS Hasura IO jot claims. Just gonna copy this. That is exactly what it's supposed to be there. Okay, and that is exactly what it's looking for. Where exactly is it looking for it? Oh, do I need to add this in here? Okay, this has me create the API, but it doesn't really have me do anything on it. Create API button. But like this API. Okay, so we have ID, name Hasura, token, all that fun stuff. Define, oh, so add a permission scope. I don't have any of that stuff. Machine applications, that's authorized. On the permissions tab, you can define what scopes this API may accept. On the settings tab, you can enable or disable authorization policy enforcements. Okay, so I feel like I'm missing something. So add access controls for that uses for the role user, then make the GraphQL. Okay, so we come into games, we say permissions, user can select I guess like full access can do a select for all games. Okay. I don't think there's any other like stuff I need to deal with here, right? So claims key not found. Okay, so that's now what it's yelling about. What if in the middleware we also set that to the other one? It's the only thing I can think of. So if I go back into my actions library, custom Hasura. So right now we're doing an API ID token. What if I just do the exact same thing to API dot access token, set custom claim, namespace, and then I want the exact same thing. And so I am setting a default role to user and allowed roles user. Okay, so now it's going to be on both of them. but it still can't find it. Do I need a new token now? Okay, so I see this claims here. I wonder if it's looking for it in the wrong spot. I now see a list of all these games. Okay, so now if I try to list games, ooh, okay, I got it. We got it. And if I try to create a new game here, so let's see, a brand new game. Let's just do like Super Mario Brothers. If I try to do create game, error, validation failed, and mutations exist. Interesting. Oh, no mutations exist. I'm not allowed to do that at all. I can only select. But if I come back to data here, and we say that you as a user are allowed to insert without any checks. You can insert just the name. Say permissions. Back to here. Oh, now it sees this. If I do create games, that works. Okay, so now we have, we'll have to figure out exactly how to set up the authentication for this. But this is nice. This is good to sort of have. And now that I have like that set up in Auth0, I can use that as a example template for myself for the future ones. But all right, so in games, if I come here to permissions, let's say select. Okay. Row select permissions, I can do with a custom check, columns ID, is like equal to, ooh, okay. So basically I can do things like you can only get stuff that's yours. Like, for example, this Hasura user ID. Now, right now, I don't have any users in the database. But this means that I can basically say, okay, get me all of the games. And, like, give me all the users. And it'll only return, like, your user ID if you're logged in as yourself. And if I'm logged in, I can get, like, all the user IDs. Like, that kind of thing, I assume. I don't have any users linked in here right now. So let's see, if I go, let's say I want to do, get me games where the ID is equal to, let's say like 3. That's the only game you're allowed to see. You can get the name and the ID. So back in here, if I do a list games, I can only see ID game of ID 3. Nothing else changes. Like as far as everybody's concerned, you're still there. Now I have this authorization sitting here. If I somehow open this up and I go into games, I can still see them all. Because I did log in with the admin username to get in and password. But when doing actual GraphQL queries, I'm now extremely limited, which is really nice. So this is good to know. It's probably a little bit painful to sort of like set up once in the first time, but once I have it in there, I believe it's saving this information into a database. So that way, if I like restart another Hasura connection, it should still be fine. I believe. Somewhere, I believe these permissions are being stored as metadata in the database. Okay, so I like this. Now we can see, okay, insert row permission check. So we can say the same custom check as select, or we can say that your okay, so you can only do it if you're like the name that you're creating is like something else. Role user to set input for columns, just name, column presets. Oh, I can set the preset types for these. Interesting. It's like name, your preset would be something. And allow from backends only. Interesting. Okay. And I can clone these permissions, to everything else. So I can spend a lot of time to sort of set things up for one thing, and then it will work for everything else. So, all right. Well, I believe that this was like the biggest thing that I wasn't sure about with using Hasura on the front end. But now that we have it, I can feel fairly confident that all I need to do is like figure out what roles I want, which we'll just do later on. I'll be able to disable that application, which I can do right now before I forget. So if I go to applications, I think I can delete you. Oh, you know what I can do? I can roll the secret. That's what I'm gonna do. Rotate the secrets. Samuel Code, hello. Okay, rotate those. API for Hasura, I'm going to not really much to do here. I didn't really do anything, so I'm going to leave that. And then everything else is pretty much the same. Cool. So now I won't be able to log in. Nobody can log in anymore. Those API keys and all those tokens are just disabled at this point in time. I have this stuff will be things that I probably won't show on stream anymore unless like I'm super certain that it's like not going to be anything bad sort of like disable off of. And then I think that was the last thing before we can actually start building out everything to begin with. So I need to figure out, I have a list of like features that I want, and I have kind of sort of a list of stories. I need to double check those, and then I don't see any reason why tomorrow we couldn't start actually just like building out things for reals. So with that, I am going to head off. It is 8 o'clock. I know it's a little bit early for me to sort of head off for the day, but I do have an important meeting that I need to get prepared for. So that's why I started a little bit early today. So with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.